All right, let's all take a songbook and turn to page 67 at Calvary, page 67. We're glad you're here this morning. Page 67 in your songbooks. Here we go. Years I spent in vanity and pride, caring not my Lord was crucified, knowing not it was for me he died on Calvary. Mercy there was great and grace was free, pardon there was multiplied to me. There my burdened soul found liberty at Calvary. By God's word at last my sin I learned, then I trembled at the law I'd spurned, till my guilty soul imploring turned to Calvary. Mercy there was great and grace was free, pardon there was multiplied to me. There my burdened soul found liberty at Calvary. Last verse. Oh, the love that drew salvation's plan. Oh, the grace that brought it down to man. Oh, the mighty gulf that God did span at Calvary. Mercy there was great and grace was free. Pardon there was multiplied to me. There my burdened soul found liberty at Calvary. Thank you. Have a seat. We're glad you're here this morning. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Does anybody have a spoken prayer request? Right, Zachary Griffith, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. Zachary Griffith passed away. Live up here in Moorcock, right? Yeah, okay. Right. The family. Okay. Anybody else with a spoken request? Okay. I got a list. I was going to see if somebody else said, hey, something else before I went through my list, okay? Pray for the family of Kermit Boyce, who passed away this week. A friend of Tracy's is 39 years old, I guess. Keep Patty in your prayers. Pray for Lowell. He's in the hospital, right? He's going to have stents put in his heart. Ronnie Williams, our neighbor's in the hospital. Keep him in your prayers. Mackenzie Nelson, that's a friend of Rebecca's, had a stroke. Is that right, Becca? Yeah. Oh, kid. Okay, I got you. Okay, pray for yeah. Okay, pray for Mackenzie Nelson. She had a stroke. She's only 20 years old. Pray for Matt Brewer and the Billings family, Jeff Billings, Martha Taylor, Brandon Roach used to come here, Charles and Janet's son, and Tiffany Arbaugh's grandmother. All right. Does anybody else have a prayer request? Yes. Right. 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 Okay. He wants to be home. That's the biggest thing. Okay. Keep going. And Debbie and the family. I remember last time he had heart surgery. I went and see him. I guess it's the day he checked in the hospital. Usually you go in, someone's got a gown on and their tubes on and all that stuff. He's got on blue jeans and a t-shirt and still has his shoes on. He's sitting there waiting for him to tell him to do something. He didn't want to be there. Jamie, you got a prayer request? Right. Okay. Hey, anybody else? Jerry, we lead some prayer? Amen. All right, you can be dismissed for Sunday school.
Good morning. All right, so newer crowd from last week, so you better get your thinking caps on this morning. Some of you were here last week. Some were sick. How's the Moss family doing? Doing any better? I guess that's pollen and leaves and grass, and I fight that myself. All right, we're still in John chapter 4. Several years ago when I started teaching, I asked the question, what is this church thing all about? Anybody remember that question? And have we figured it out yet? What is this church thing all about, meaning what are we supposed to be doing? The last couple of weeks, what was the question we asked ourselves a couple of weeks ago? What does God want done? And why did we ask that question? It's going to be quiet today, I got a feeling. Miss Underwood's going to answer all the questions. She's shaking her head rapidly. No, she's not. Why are we asking ourselves that question? What is God's will for my life, right? Charlie, you ever ask yourself that? What is God's will for my life? In the last couple of weeks, I know you wasn't here last week, but I don't remember. But the new question is, what does God want done? You're an English teacher, right? History. Our English teacher's not here. Marie. Well, she won't answer the question, though. She already gave me the, you talk to me again, I'm going to punch you in the throat look. Huh? One of them like, no, I'm not answering anything. But if I got an English question, if it's not a Bible question, I might be able to answer that. Maybe. I said answer that, but I meant ask that. See, I need English help. The woman at the well is where we are. So it's John chapter 4. Last week we went through roughly the first 26 verses. But we're going to back up a little bit and just talk about here just a little bit. So chapter 4, verse 1. When therefore the Lord knew how the Pharisees had heard that Jesus made and baptized more disciples than John, though Jesus himself baptized not, but his disciples, he left Judea and departed again into Galilee. And he must needs go through Samaria. Does anybody remember where Samaria is? That's a good start. Up here, she said. Definitely north, right? It's definitely north of Jerusalem. We'll say that. Very good. Then cometh he to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near to the parcel of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. Jesus therefore, being wearied with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. Okay? He's leaving Judea, he's headed to Galilee. He stops in Samaria. What do we know about Jews and Samaritans? What did we learn and what do we know about Jews and Samaritans? First of all, was Jesus a Jew? Is he Jewish? Some yes and some I don't know for sure. Yes? All right, so what do we know about Jews and Samaritans? Y'all better say something. John's about to bust his teeth out right here. Okay, she said Jews. Just do this again. Jews are clean, she said, and Samaritans are unclean, she said. So, and the Samaritans are unclean. Why? Why do Jews see the Samaritans as unclean? We're having a little trivia here. Look at Mama. Mama is on it. Miss Debbie's on it today. She said, what did you say again? Say it out loud. They married outside the Jewish family. Okay? But why did they do that? All right, finally got her stumped here a minute. Huh? Why did they do that? How many tribes? Remember how many tribes there are? 12 tribes of who? Jacob. And Jacob's name was turned into what? Man, we're getting deep in the trivia this morning. Jacob's name was turned into, starts with an I. No. I-S-R. Israel. Did you Google that? Yes, you did. He's sitting there Googling things. Jacob's name was turned into Israel, and there's 12 tribes of what? Israel, meaning 12 tribes of who? Jacob. Y'all with me so far? Okay. How many of those tribes were in the northern kingdom? One of those answers is right, but it's that the northern is, what'd you say? 10. Okay. So what two tribes? So apparently there was 2 tribes in the southern kingdom, and those 2 tribes were who? She said Seth. Seth was a son of somebody else, like Eve or somebody. Huh? Benjamin's one? Is it important that we know the history? To me it is. To me it's kind of important if we understand the lay of the land. Let me read this verse and maybe this will ring a bell. But the hour cometh, and now, no, wrong one verse. There's 12 tribes. We know Benjamin. Was he the baby? Okay. And then there's got to be, okay, let me read this. Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. That's a hint. Salvation is of the Jews. Are Samaritans considered as Jews? Well, they got Jewish heritage, but the Jews don't look at them as Jewish because, like Mama said, they married outside the family and started having babies outside the family, and God's, it all got watered down. Come on, somebody. Benjamin and who's the line carried through? Who's the line carried through? What tribe? No. Well, Isaac's not a wrong answer, but in this question form, I guess it is. Out of the 12 tribes, Jesus, it says right here, we know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. Who's the Jews? Who's the pure Jews? Benjamin and somebody else in Jerusalem. I got people on YouTube right now screaming at the screen right now. If you're at home watching, send John a text if you got the answer. You got your phone? Matter of fact, I got my phone. If you have my number, text me the answer if you're on there watching. If you don't, you're going to hurt my feelings. I'm going to turn this down though, just in case. 10 seconds. I'm going to have to, somebody's going to answer possibly, or I'm just going to tell you. We got to move on. John, I'm going to have to turn it over to John. Look at him right now. He's about to bust. Somebody knows it. Judah. Jesus was from the tribe of Judah. I didn't get any text, so we're good. Okay? The 2 tribes still in Jerusalem that is still pure, that salvation came through. Why does it says we know what Jesus said, we know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. Why did he say that? Salvation is when he's talking about Jews, who's he talking about? Dave Kasdorf is calling. Sorry, Dave, I can't answer. I said text. I didn't say call. I said text. It's getting weird in here. Oh, hold on. You got this. Who is it, Dave? Don't say anything. Can you hear me, Dave? Say you called me. It was an accident. You're supposed to text me. That's Jim Summers. Judah, dummy. That's what Jim Summers said. Hey, Jim, I knew the answer. Okay, I'm not the dummy. Oh, I don't know who you're calling dummy, but anyway. Yeah, he Googled it. He looked at these notes and all that stuff. Judah, he said. Great answer. Dave Kasdorf, please use texting next time. Okay. So the woman at the well, when you think about this whole story about the woman at the well, okay, in your mind, before we start teaching, before we start talking about it, what is this story in your mind? Who's it about? And what's it about? Has anybody got something they'd like to say about that? By all means, text me your long answer, and I'll look at it if I can, if you're online. Let's hear it again. Okay. So let's look at verse 7. There cometh a woman of Samaria to draw water. Jesus saith unto her, Give me to drink. For his disciples were going away unto the city to buy meat. You see how we got two people. I'm gonna say we'll call the disciples group. Okay, and then you got the woman. Jesus is the teacher, and you got a group of disciples that he's already been teaching. Does everybody understand that? These disciples are already following Jesus, that they're listening on a daily basis. They're getting taught every day. Then we got a woman coming out of the blue. She just walked up, going to draw water, knows nothing about nothing as far as Jesus himself at this point. Okay? She has Jewish heritage. She understands certain things. She understands, like Jacob, she knew that Jacob was a forefather of hers, so she does have Jewish heritage. Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which am a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Okay? And then we read the rest of the story last week. Does anybody else find it odd that, first of all, what's the Jewish tradition or culture about a man actually talking to a woman? Does anybody know that? You have anything? But the study that I'm not saying thou shalt not talk to a woman, but I think the study that I've done, it's like it still seems kind of awkward for a Jew to talk to a woman, be alone and talk to a woman that's not his wife, yada yada. Okay, so that's one problem. The next problem is a Jew communicating with a Samaritan. Okay, everybody understands that? Jews don't, it says, for the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Okay? Once again, we talked about all that last week. And then he has a conversation with her. Let's go to verse 20. Our fathers worshiped in this mountain, and ye say that in Jerusalem is the place where men ought to worship. Jesus saith unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. Okay? Last week we got a definition of worship. What was the definition of worship? And a lot of times, for me, when I think of worship, I'm thinking on your knees and you're doing the worship and stuff like that. So when I think of worship, I don't know. It's definitely not a negative thing, but it goes against my nature to I don't know what it is. I don't know what. It's respect. It's to show reverence to a deity. Okay, that's what worship. It's simply to show reverence to a deity, God of that form. Okay. To worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. Spirit being what? And right now we're just backdrafting here just a little bit from what we did last week. What's spirit mean? We're going to worship, we're going to show reverence in spirit. What does that mean? Verse 24 says, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. If he's a spirit, he's going to give us his spirit, right? Spirit lives in us. We're going to worship in spirit and then in truth. Truth being, what does God want done? That's the truth. What does he want done? Everything else is what it is. What does God want done, and stick to that. The woman saith unto him, I know that Messiah cometh, which is called Christ. When he is come, he will tell us all things. Jesus saith unto her, I that speak unto thee am he. Okay. Let's get our mindset right. Let's get the spot. Jesus out in the middle of somewhere. Let's call it a desert. Somewhere. There's a well. He's sitting on the side of the well, talking to a Samaritan woman, teaching her who he is, telling her who he is. Okay? The disciples at this point are over in the city doing what? Okay? Getting meat, getting lunch. Okay? They're away, so it's just Jesus and this woman sitting at the well. He's explaining to her, hey, I am the Messiah. Okay? And that's where we are. Verse 27, and upon this came his disciples, so they're coming back from getting lunch, and marveled that he talked with the woman. Yet no man said, what seekest thou, or why talkest thou with her? Do you see how what they did right there? They come back and he sees her talking to this woman, and they're thinking to themselves, why in the world is he talking to her? And what in the world is he trying to get? What's this all about? They come back like, first of all, it's a woman. Okay, second of all, she's a Samaritan. These guys are Jewish. They got a huge problem with it. Okay? The woman then left her water pot and went her way into the city and saith to the men. Okay, now the disciples come to the well. Okay? She leaves, goes back into the city. Okay? The woman then left her water pot and went her way into the city and saith to the men, come, see a man which told me all things that ever I did. Is not this the Christ? Then they went out of the city and came unto him. In the meanwhile, his disciples prayed him, saying, Master, eat. They brought the lunch back. It's in its little, they got it ready for him. And they're saying, Master, we want to go ahead and eat. And he said, but he said unto them, I have meat to eat that ye know not of. Therefore said the disciples one to another, hath any man brought him aught to eat? Jesus said unto them, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me, and to finish his work. Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest? Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes, and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest. And he that reapeth receiveth wages, and gathereth fruit unto life eternal, that both he that soweth and he that reapeth may rejoice together. And herein is that saying true, one soweth and another reapeth. I sent you to reap that whereon ye bestowed no labor. Other men labored, and ye are entered into their labors. What in the world does all that mean? Whew. Anybody help me out here? You understand how we got two groups, right? Or two people. We got the woman and we got the disciples. Okay? They come to a well. Jesus is tired. He sits down. He sends his disciples in to the city to get lunch. Okay? Here comes a woman to draw water out of the well. He starts explaining to her and telling her sin. Okay? And explaining to her that, telling her things about her that she didn't think anybody else knew, especially a stranger. Okay? He gets finished telling her all about that. She ends up leaving and going telling everybody about what just happened. A man just told me everything there is to know about me. This has got to be the Messiah, right? Ain't this the Christ? So what those guys said, okay, let's go check it out. Okay? He actually sent the disciples to go into the same city to get lunch. And when they came back in, I'm going to use the kind of in judgment. Why is he talking to her? I don't understand what's going on here. Okay? So in a roundabout way, when the disciples ask the question and they're trying to get him to eat, and he starts explaining, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. What he's trying to say is, that's ought to be what your meat is too. That's your meat also. He didn't come right out and say that. But he kind of goes right into a scolding. Look here. Verse 38 said, no, let's just read the readings. Say ye not, say ye not, there are yet 4 months. This is verse 35. Say ye not, there are yet 4 months, and then come and harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white, already to harvest. Is he talking about farming? Is Jesus talking about farming? He's using it as an analogy. He says to the disciples, now you say in 4 months, if you plant something 4 months later, you ought to be ready to harvest and get the fruit from it. What he's saying is, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are right already to harvest. And he that reapeth receiveth wages or reward, and gathereth fruit, which are newborn, or new believers. The fruit is new believers. The wages is reward. And gathereth fruit unto life eternal, that both he that soweth and he that reapeth may rejoice together. And herein is that saying true. One soweth and another reapeth. So what I'm saying, he's explaining the reaping and the sowing. Somebody's going to sow it. Somebody's going to reap it. Okay, does that understand? Somebody's going to tell somebody about Christ. The next person will come along and actually lead them to Christ. Okay? And then he said to them, verse 38, I sent you to reap that whereon ye bestowed no labor. Other men labored, and ye are entered into their labors. What does that mean? I sent you, meaning what? I sent you over into the city, not to get lunch. I sent you over there to reap what's already ready for you. If you would open your eyes and see what's going on, and see that the fields are ready to harvest, I mean, they literally just went over to get lunch. I mean, you got a group of men that are not getting it. They're not getting it. Unfortunately, they're just not getting it. He sent them over to get meat. But his meat is to do the will of the Lord, and he wants that to be their meat also. Think about it, okay? He sends them into a Samaritan city that don't even like them. So why in the world would they buy meat from them? And why would the Samaritans even sell them meat? He sent them over there to harvest and to tell those people about the man that we have back at the well waiting on us. Okay? He's teaching them what their job is. My meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work, which means that's your meat as well. While I'm here, you're here to tell people about me as much as you can. And then once I'm gone, you got to carry on the torch and tell people about me. Verse 39 says, and many of the Samaritans of that city believed on him for the saying of the who? Woman, which testified, he told me all that ever I did. He sends a group of trained soldiers, we'll call them. He sent a group of trained men into a field ready to harvest, and all they did was basically think about themselves. They ain't getting the big picture. He sent them over there to tell people about him. Okay? Yet, the other side of the story is, here comes a Samaritan woman to him and listens to his teaching, believes that he is who he says he is. She goes back to the same city and tells them exactly what he wants her to say. She goes and we're talking about how many times she been married? Come on. Somebody text me. I ain't gonna wait around too long. How many times she been married? Can I get a 5? Can I get a 5? Huh? How many times? 5 times. She's been married 5 times, and the man she's with now is not her husband. Okay? We're talking about a Samaritan, unclean, in the Jews' eyes, Somebody's been married 5 times and with a man now that's not her husband, comes to the well. He tells her who he is. She believes it and goes and does what? Immediately starts sowing. Ain't he the Christ? It's got to be him. He told me everything about me that I ever wanted, or ever did. It's got to be the Christ. Right? Let's keep reading. After she sowed, let's see what happened. So when the Samaritans were come unto him, they besought him that he would tarry with them, and he abode there 2 days. And many more believed because of his own word. Okay? And said unto the woman, now we believe, not because of thy saying, for we have heard him ourselves, and now that this is indeed the Christ, the Savior of the world. Anybody getting that? It takes all kind of people to make the world go around. Who was going to reach those Samaritan people? The Samaritan woman. Okay? I'd like to see what the disciples, because they got their blinders on. What did he say? Lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white, all ready to harvest. Is Sissonville, West Virginia ready to harvest? I mean, in droves. Is that the right word? In leaps and bounds. All you have to do is talk. Or are we the religious kind? We as in not, I'm talking about the church. Let's say the church, the 10 churches or whatnot. Are we so focused on the task at hand that we forget the task at hand? What does God want done? Does he want us to go out and just get meat? I got to eat, PR. I understand that. I get it. I do too. I like eating. What is our meat? Doing the will of God, right? Verse 36, and he that reapeth receiveth wages. Now in the real world that means, anybody working out in the field starts, reaping and all that, they get paid a salary. In this case, it's spiritual. And he that reapeth receiveth reward. There is no better feeling than somebody that you're witnessing to or talking to says, yes, I believe that Jesus is the Son of God. And once you see them give their life to Christ and see the change, there's no better feeling. There's no better wage. There's no better reward. And you're gathering fruit. Fruit being new believers. You got any questions about that? We're so busy serving God that we forget to serve God. So in other words, we're getting caught up. Sometimes we get, what does God want done? Well, if we're trying to reach a goal, every goal has tasks, right, to reach the goal. And sometimes we get so caught up in the task, we forget what the goal is. Does that make sense? The task. What we got to do, all these tasks, and then we forget what the goal is. We get caught up in forgetting what the goal is. The disciples go out to get meat, but the overall thinking and the overall goal should always be to witness. Okay? And many of the Samaritans of the city believed on him for the saying of the woman, which testified. She went back and testified. Does that mean you go to Piggly Wiggly and say, Jesus? Okay? If that's what God tells you to do, then yes, that's what it means. Everybody has their own way of doing it. Everybody has their own group of people that they can reach. Okay? Dave has people that he can talk to that I can't talk to. He knows all about pigs and cows and farms and tractors and all. I don't know nothing about any of that. I know I like pig. I like eating it. I like pork. I like filet mignon. I don't know what part of the cow that even is, Dave. I have no idea. I know it's the good part. Is it anywhere near the tenderloin? He said, yeah. I don't have any idea. He could be saying yes and lying to me. I have no idea. That's the only thing I know about. I know I'm scared of him. I don't know why. Don't laugh at me, John. That ain't funny. That's kind of funny a little bit. Listen, you get close to them, you don't know if they're going to kick you or run you over or whatever. I don't know. They're bigger than me. And they're big, but they move. They're pretty agile. They can go side to side better than you think you can. I always heard don't run in a straight line, but I don't know. Stop, drop, roll. I don't know. I have no idea. But I don't know anything about that. So those people at these farm shows and all these, I don't have nothing in common with any of them folks. Other than I believe that Jesus is the Son of God, and I hope they do too. Right? We all have certain folks that we can reach. And you got to ask yourself the question every day. All day, every day. What does God want done? Now, how you get to that point is seriously up to you and your gifts. You understand that? You're using your gift to tell people about Christ. We keep saying that. You understand that? That way it's not uncomfortable for you. It's like the third arm. If you use your gift, it's not uncomfortable. If you go outside your gift and you're trying to do something that you're not, there's things I can't do. So that when I get out of my talent level and I'm lost. And everybody knows I'm lost. And we all the same way. If stay in your lane, use your if we say, what does God want done? And I'm using the talent and it just flows. You see how easy that flows? Just stay right there in your talent. He gave you a gift for a reason. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm saying that's what I'm saying. That somebody like him can talk. You can talk V8s and carburetors and Jesus. I can't talk carburetor. I don't even know what it really does. I know gas. I think runs through it. I don't know. They talk transmissions and rear ends and tires and paint and chopped and lowered and all that. I don't know any of that. Wouldn't even know where to start. I've seen Poppy cut a dump truck in two, add another axle and another 2 feet to it, and made a tandem dump truck out of it. Think about that for a second. Where would you even start? Literally cut it right in half. Add it to the frame, add it to the bed, add another axle, and now I got a tandem truck, not a single axle. It's insane to me. Good stuff. And there's another guy that can do the same thing, that if I come on site, he ain't going to listen to what I got to say, but he'll listen to Poppy talk all day long about Jesus, because they talk each other's language. Yeah. I do that a lot. I share my past a lot, and it hits home a lot with folks that I talk to. Some people be like, "Oh my gosh," and be totally judgmental. But some folks love it. You mean a sinner like you believes that Jesus is the Son of God and He done what for you? Absolutely, every word of it. Every word of it. Okay? So you got the woman and you got His disciples. She was trained for about 10 minutes and won how many people? It doesn't give that number. Multitudes, we'll say. Several. Okay? Then you got a group of hand-chosen, trained men that missed the boat this time. This time. Okay? So where are we at right now? Are you the woman that's getting it and telling people about Christ? Or are you a group of trained disciples that were just caught up in the tasks and not really telling anybody about Christ? Put yourself in one of those categories. Okay? Don't judge yourself and beat yourself up. That's not what this is all about. It's that take a team and get on it and know what the meat is. Doing the will of God and finishing His work. Stay away from the tasks, getting caught up in the task, and get done what needs to be done. What does God want done? Let's get it done. Period. Just get it done. Just do it. Let's get it done. Quit talking about it. Quit thinking about it. Quit wondering what in the world and all that. Just do it. Tell somebody about Christ. See what happens. One person you tell, like the woman, could turn into several. Or the one person that you don't tell could turn into several that never do. If the woman don't show up and he was dependent on his disciples, at that time, that group would not have learned about Jesus. Okay? You don't know what you're sitting on. You got the good news. You need to go tell somebody. Once again, don't be weird about it. Don't beat yourself up when, oh man, I missed an opportunity. Lord Jesus, oh my gosh, I missed this opportunity. Shake it off. Dust yourself off because it's going to happen. And make up for it. Okay? Anybody else got any questions? Father, we love you, Lord. We thank you for your word and everything you're doing for us. Keep pushing. I keep saying the same prayer every week. Keep pushing. Keep teaching. And show us what your will really is. What do you want done from us? We know the answer. We just got to quit talking about it and do it. We love you. We praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
No, Miss Patty. How are you today? Well, All right, let's all take a songbook, turn to page 226, Joy Unspeakable. Page 226 in your songbooks. It's all standing. Once you find your page, it's all standing to your feet. Page 226. 226. I love to hear the fellowship. I hate to break up with a fellowship like this, but we're here for church, I guess. They're good. I love to hear all y'all back here talking, squawking, whatever the sound is. Okay, here we go. I have found His grace is all complete. He supplieth every need. While I sit and learn at Jesus, I am free as free indeed. It is joy unspeakable and full of glory, full of glory, full of glory. It is joy unspeakable and full of glory. Oh, the half has never yet been told. I have found the pleasure I once craved, joy and peace within. What a wondrous blessing, I am saved, full gulf of sin. It is joy unspeakable and full of glory, full of glory, full of glory. It is joy unspeakable and full of glory. Oh, the half has never yet been told. Last verse. I have found the joy no tongue can tell, how its waves of glory roll. It is like a great o'erflowing well, springing up within my soul. It is joy unspeakable and full of glory, full of glory, full of glory. It is joy unspeakable and full of glory. Oh, the half has never yet been told. Thank you. Have a seat. Let's go, Lord, in prayer. Does anybody have a spoken prayer request? Pray for, I had a list this morning. Pray for the family of Zachary Griffith, 13 years old, that passed away this week. Keep their family in your prayers. They had a great testimony. If you read the obituary in the paper, it's a great testimony of a Christian family. So just keep that family in your prayers, though. They're going to miss their son greatly. What other request was it? Pray for Lowell. He's in the hospital. Might be coming home today. He's supposed to have surgery, or stents put it on Tuesday, but he wants to come home. He doesn't want to stick around the hospital till Tuesday. Okay. Is that it? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Pray for all the men that don't listen to the wives. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Anybody with unspoken requests, something you want to pray about? Not to mention that loud. Okay, let's go to the Lord in prayer. The Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to be in your house. I pray that you'll bless and all that we're saying do. We bring honor and glory to you. Pray for the Bill Kirk and his recovery. I pray for Lowell and his upcoming surgery on Tuesday. I pray you'll comfort the families that lost a loved one this week. I pray for unspoken requests, those things that we carry in our hearts, Lord, that we don't mention out to everybody all the time. But I pray that you'll bless each one here this morning with their requests, that your will be accomplished in our lives. And I pray that if there's anyone here this morning that does not know you as their Savior, that they'll trust you today before we leave this building, that they'll know for sure they're going to heaven. I pray for anyone listening to our voice that doesn't know you, that you'll comfort your work conviction in their heart and show their need. And I thank you for the time we have together. Bless us this time. In Jesus' name we ask. Amen. I have a couple announcements. Do we have any birthdays or anniversaries this week? Birthdays or anniversaries? Someone going once, going twice? Spiritual birthday? Okay, I forgot something. Okay. Graduation. We're planning the graduation reception June 7th. Is that next week? What's today? 24th. 2 weeks from today. June 7th at 7 p.m. here at the church. Those of you graduated high school this year or kindergarten graduation, if you can be here. We just found out someone's going out of town, so they're not going to be here. But we'll get a gift. Maybe we'll get their stuff early. Okay. we're still planning Vacation Bible School for June 22nd through 26th. And you say, Brother John, what's it going to be like? Can all the workers, should all the workers wear masks? If you feel comfortable without a mask, go without a mask. If you feel like you need to wear a mask, wear a mask. We'll leave that up individually. We're not. Someone asked how many people we have how many children do we plan on having for Vacation Bible Schools? I have no idea. I don't know if there's still some families that will not come out. We understand that they're not going to be here. It's fine. There's others that are excited and they want to come. So we'll be here for those who can come, or we'll be here June 22nd through 26th. If you can, we need to order T-shirts for all the workers of Vacation Bible School. So if you will call or text or give Tammy a note, if you plan on helping the Vacation Bible School for all our workers, we always get T-shirts for everybody. So let Tammy know if you're planning on working, so she'll get shirts for you, ordered for you. Okay, now a lot of times in the summertime we'll take kids to youth conferences. July 14th through 16th there'll be a virtual youth conference. So we're going to talk to Jason about how to do this, but it's a place that's having the youth conference, and we will plan to have our teenagers and young adults come in for the youth conference, and we'll watch it on the screen, and we'll do activities. We'll have the Bible school for the kids in June, and then we'll have a youth conference thing for the teenagers in July. Okay, that is our plan. Okay. Anybody got testimony? God's blessed you in some way. You want to tell everybody about it? Can y'all hear me? I'm talking to myself. Can you hear me in the back? Okay. Okay. Like I can't hear myself. Okay. Anybody got testimony? God's bless you. You want to tell everybody about it? Going once? Going twice? Anybody got a song? Okay, let's take up an offering. Charlie Boy, can you come take up offering? Charlie Moss, Charlie Boy, can you come help with offering? Charlie leads the prayer. Okay, junior church can be dismissed. Fourth grade and down. Fourth grade and down. You go to junior church. Okay, open your Bibles, please, to 2 Samuel chapter 1. Second Samuel chapter 1. Now, this is why I want you to just sit there just for a minute with your Bibles on your lap and look up this way once you find it. I want you to find it before we go. We're not going to read for about 30 minutes from now. We're in the middle of the message and we'll read the scriptures. No, it's not going to be that long. Okay. I want to have your attention to give you part of the story before we read the scriptures. Okay. So everybody got it? 2 Samuel chapter 1. I'm going to tell you a story. The first king of Israel was named Saul. King Saul. He was head and shoulders bigger than everybody else. And when he was a young man, he was a humble man. God made him king. His his pride got to him after a while, and he had problems. But for the most part, he was a good king, and Israel was blessed under him. And his son, he had three sons. One, I think the older son was named Jonathan, but Jonathan is more well known than the other two sons. So Saul and his son Jonathan kind of ran the kingdom. And Jonathan was a hero in Israel. Jonathan was when the Philistines were gathered together. Jonathan was a man of great faith. He attacked the whole Philistine army by himself. Well, why would somebody do that? I don't know. He just had that kind of a faith. Jonathan one day was with one of his armor bearers, just a young kid with him, and he said, "God can save by many, by few. Let's go fight against him." All of Israel was hiding one time, and they were afraid to fight against the Philistines. And Jonathan said, "We can do this." He turned his kid just with him. He said, "Let's go." And he devised a plan. He went and attacked the whole Philistine army by himself. And he was victorious because all the rest of the Israelites came out hiding out of their caves and stuff and fought against the Philistines. There's a lot to the history of Saul and of Jonathan. Saul had one daughter, and she married David. David, we know the story of David and Goliath, and David became king, wrote the Psalms. Jonathan and David were best friends, and they swore an allegiance to each other as young men, and they were both heroes in Israel, but they were also both great men of God, or men of great faith. They trusted God, or obedient to God, and they had this aura about them in their friendship. They shot bows together. They had a good time together, but they had this deep abiding love for God in their hearts, and a great admiration for those who fought for their country. Okay. In their sense, when they fought for the country, they were fighting for God. So they were warriors, but they were best friends at that. Okay. There was a battle. This is Saul's last battle, King Saul. He'd been king for 40 years. He knew going into this battle, he knew the day before the battle, God had told him that he was going to die. And he knew he was going to die in that battle. But all three of his sons are going to die in this battle. It's not the Battle of Mount Gilboa. And why are you teaching the story, brother? Talking about the story, because it's not Memorial Day. We're going to get to this. We're going to get to the Memorial Day part of this next minute. Even going in, knowing that they're all going to die, knowing that he and his sons and all the men that are with him are going to die in this battle, he still headed into the battle, knowing the outcome of the battle. Okay, and of course they fight the Battle of Mount Gilboa, and they died. David, who is his son-in-law, who they hadn't been on good, close terms for a long time, but he's going to be the next king of Israel. And David laments over losing Saul and Jonathan. And we're going to read this lamentation in 2 Samuel chapter 1. We'll go ahead and start reading now. Look down at verse 17. I'm going to read this. This is after Saul and Jonathan had died. And this is after their bodies were nailed onto a wall, and some brave men had gone and got their bodies off the wall and went and buried them. And David finds out what has happened to Saul and to Jonathan. Okay, it's not like turn on CNN and see what happened right there back in those days. It's just you find out a day or so later what had happened in the battle. Okay, chapter 1, verse 17. And David lamented with this lamentation over Saul and over Jonathan his son. Also, he taught them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. David and Jonathan they like to fight with bow, but it wasn't common for the armies to do that at the time. They fought with swords and spears. So Jonathan used the bow. This is what David said, verse 19. The beauty of Israel is slain upon thy high places. How are the mighty fallen? Tell it not in Gath, that's their enemies. Publish it not in the streets of Askelon, lest the daughters of the Philistines rejoice, lest the daughters of the uncircumcised triumph. Ye mountains of Gilboa, let there be no dew, nor let there be rain upon you, nor fields of offerings. For there the shield of the mighty is valley cast away, and the shield of Saul, as though he had not been anointed with oil. He is anointed by God. From the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul returned not empty. Saul and Jonathan were lovely and pleasant in their lives, and in their death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles. They were stronger than lions. Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet, and with other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? O Jonathan, thou hast slain thy high places.
I'm distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of woman. How are the mighty fallen, and the weapons of war perished? Let's pray. Thank you, Lord, for your love and your mercy and your goodness to us. Thank you for your word. I pray to bless the next few minutes of preaching of your word. As we look at this story and we think about this weekend and what it's supposed to mean to us in America today. Thank you for loving us. Thank you, Jesus, for dying on the cross for us. In your name we ask. Amen. From the foundation of the earth, the first family, I created heavens and the earth, created Adam and Eve, and the first man ever born was Cain. And he was a murderer, killed his brother. Okay? From that day to this day, most of the world has been ruled by tyrants and dictators. Almost all the world, the history of all the world, is ruled by not leaders who step up and say, come on, let's go this way, and you follow me, and everyone follows them. It's ruled by dictators who rule with an iron fist and say, I want my way, I want my riches, I want my this, my that, and I will rule to get whatever I want. Okay? And most of the world has been led that direction, except for just a few nations in history, Israel being one of them. Most people hunger for power, seeking wealth or control of others. And the people they have control over most often have within them a desire for some kind of freedom, some kind of a liberty. If you go around the world today in communist countries, there are people in our nation today that want us to become communists. We don't want to become communists, and we lose our, we stop right there. We don't want to become communists, but there are people around the world today that are led that live in communist nations, and those people that live under the rule of someone else, they have a desire inside of them for some kind of freedom. Some of them don't understand it. Some of them have no idea what it is, but inside themselves, they want to make their own choices and live their own lives. Okay? But others have this control over them. Once in a while in history, if you read through history, you read about those who have this understanding that everyone has this desire for freedom. Saul had that understanding. Jonathan and David had that understanding. And someone's got to step up and fight a fight so that these people could have the freedom that they want. It has happened from the time of Cain and Abel, where Abel did right, Cain did wrong. But there's people that have always stepped up and said, I will do what has to be done in order to make sure that our people are free. You read through the book of Judges in the Old Testament. I love the book of Judges because there's people like Gideon that stood up and said, okay, let's go. 300 men going to fight against 30,000 men. Come on, let's go fight this battle. I love the story of Jonathan I told a few minutes ago, where him and his armor bearer had to climb up on a hillside so steep they climbed up on their hands and knees to get up to where the Philistines were. And the Philistines saw them coming. And they said, look at these guys. They come out of the rocks and come out of their little caves, come looking for us. Come on up here, we'll show you something. But it didn't mean anything to Jonathan. He said, God's with us. Let's go fight this battle. I love the history of the stories of those who set in their heart and say, I'll do whatever has to be done for the freedom of my people. Okay? A lot of times people lose their lives in this process, and that's what our Memorial Day originally was set for, to honor those who died in battle, died on the field of battle. We kind of thin that out now to where we celebrate everybody, our ancestors, everybody's invested in their life. Or for most part in America today, Memorial Day is just the beginning of summer. School's out, yay, right? So the school's out. It's the first weekend we get to go camping, okay, or whatever it is, and it's the first weekend of summer for us. But there are people that understand something that most people don't. That freedom that we enjoy has a cost. Okay? There's a couple of people that I've read about in history that there was a man in World War I, his name's Paterno, Nicholas Paterno, that in World War I fighting against the Germans in France, and his men were in a trench, and there was 3 machine gun pits of the Germans firing into his men, killing them all. So he took out 2 of the machine, but he climbed out of his trench, out of his safety, where all the rest of his men were. He was just a kid. Now, he was only 18 at the time, if I remember right. He climbed out of his trench and attacked the machine gunners by himself, okay, to try to save his men. He killed 2 of the took out 2 of the machine gun pits, and the third one got him. And he was shot several times before he passed, but he was going all he could, and he saved the men that were behind him. I think about David Underwood, Dad Hobie. He saved a bunch of his men, got a Silver Star in World War II. He saved a bunch of his men in the process. But he never thought about, and when I witnessed to him for the first time about 20 years ago, his mind had been for 50 years, had never been set on the men that he saved. His mind was constantly on the ones that didn't make it home. Right, Marie? His first words to me were, those other boys' mamas was expecting them to come home too. He was talking about his buddies that he could not get back. World War II, a boy that lied about his age at 16, joined the army because he wanted to go, wanted to fight with everybody else. He was in a foxhole with a bunch of his friends, a bunch of his buddies fighting against the Germans, and a hand grenade was thrown in the middle of his foxhole. So at this time he was still only 17 years old, 16, lied about his age when he joined the army. He dove on a grenade, landed in the foxhole. He dove on the grenade, and to absorb the impact to keep all his buddies alive. He sacrificed his own life for his friends. I read one of the greatest books I ever read was Growing Up in Vietnam, about a Marine, written by a Marine. It was one of Jared's teachers at one point, and he'd gone through all the training at boot camp for the Marine Corps, and he was excited to be a Marine. After so many years of being a Marine, he was ever sent overseas, never sent to Vietnam. His 4 years were up, and they said, "We want you to re-enlist." And he said, "I will only re-enlist if you send me over, because every week he saw a list of other Marines that had died." There are a few people in our auditorium where listen to the sound of my voice. There are a few people in our lifetime that say, "Oh, I will sacrifice everything I have for my friends. I will give up." The founders of our Constitution, of our nation, Charlie, didn't all the signers of the Declaration of Independence, didn't most of them all lose everything they had? They would say, "I will give up everything, sacrifice everything that I have for my friends." When I read about these stories, Brother John, does it affect you in that way? Yeah, it does. And maybe it shouldn't. Maybe I should just be dry about this and calm about this. And this shouldn't bother me at all that someone else gave their life for me. Because when I read about these stories, I think often about the fact that we were all in a foxhole of going to hell, all in the trap of hell. Hell was created for the devil and his angels. And we're all in that foxhole going to the same place, and a grenade falls in amongst us, and Jesus dives on that grenade, and yet sacrificed his life for us to save our life from hell. Save our life here on this side of eternity, but save us to take us to heaven when we die. There's something inside of me that is always full of this gratitude. And when I think about the stories, or if I read through the stories, it hits me, it touches me on the inside that someone did this for me. That Jesus died for me, or that these people willingly gave their lives, their fortunes, everything they had for me, for you, to have what you have. When David was singing this song, or giving this lamentation, he looked at the ladies of Israel and he said, "You should rejoice because Saul, you have gold, you have nice apparel, you have everything you have because of Saul." That's one of the verses. You have what you have because of something, the sacrifice that he made. Not him dying in this process, but because he was a great king and led you in the right direction. Okay? Greater love, John 15:13. Greater love hath no man than this, that man lay down his life for his friends. I think of this often. Matter of fact, I think of it probably too much, maybe. Of the one who gave his life for me, for you. And I can't help but to rejoice and say thank you, and then turn around in my mind and in my heart say, I want to do everything I'm supposed to do to bring honor to Christ, who gave his life for me, I want to do everything in my life in my power to bring honor to those who sacrificed so that we can have the nation that we have or the freedoms that we have. But John, it doesn't mean anything to me. I got a good job, I got a good house, I got a nice car, I got a nice wife, got this, and you have all this because of someone else's sacrifice. Well, no, it's my job. I worked hard on my job. I know we have the nation that we have, the blessings of God that we have because of the sacrifice of others. We go into the presence of God and ask him anything and ask for anything because of the sacrifice of Christ. Yeah, but John, it doesn't mean anything. The only thing that matters to me is what I get to grill tomorrow at the cookout. Okay? Or the only thing that matters to me is I get a new whatever. There ought to be something inside of this full of this gratitude. Someone's habit. Well, John, did you ever serve in the military? No, I had a Marine Corps recruiter talk me out of it. Okay? Jared's met the recruiter, the guy that was his recruiter at the time. I wanted to go. In case I wanted to be a Marine. I had friends that were Marines. I wanted to go. And one of them talked me out of it. Okay? He said, you're not supposed to do that. Why? I guess he didn't know I was supposed to be a preacher. I don't know. He taught me, okay, Brother John, maybe that's why you have this gratitude. Maybe my thinking process is why I have this gratitude. And it's for everything we have, we ought to give thanks. For the liberties, the freedoms we have, someone paid the price for it. And the fact that we get to go to heaven when we die, Jesus paid that price for it. 2 questions. First question is this: do you realize the sacrifices that were made for you? I know, Brother John, but it's, it's lunchtime. I know it's lunchtime. We'll get to that in a minute. Do you realize the sacrifices others have made for you so you can enjoy the life that you have? That's the first question. Second question is this, which is the most important question. Do you realize the sacrifice Jesus Christ made for you so you can go to heaven when you die? Jesus said, I've come that you might have life and have it more abundantly. I want you to have a great life. I want you to have a tremendous life. I want you to realize what you've got. Part of what you have, if you trust Christ as your Savior, part of what you have is a liberty to go in the presence of God at any time and say, hey, I need something. Or you say, hey, God, he said, hey, I was just thinking about you. That freedom that we have, that liberty that we have. Do you realize what you have? Let's pray. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for dying on the cross for us. Thank you for the wonderful life you've given us. Thank you for this weekend. Help us to take just a moment to be grateful for what you've provided for us in our nation. We're thankful for our family members that have invested in us, and we go to the graveside this week. We do that, and our friends that have died, we rejoice in the lives that he gave them. But we also realize that there's a price that was paid for our freedom. Help us not forget it. The blood that was shed on soil here in this country or around the world so we have the freedoms we have. Help us not forget the blood that was shed on Mount Calvary when Jesus died on the cross for us. Thank you for loving us. Thank you for the wonderful life you give us. Help us rejoice and not forget our purpose here, to rejoice in what you've done. And you need me ask. Let's all stand and sing. Simple question is this: you know for sure you're going to heaven when you die? Are you 100% sure? You need to get that settled just to make sure you know where you're going. Well, yeah, I got that settled. Okay, be grateful for it. If you're not sure, the altar's open. Let's take the Bible and show you how you can know where you're going to heaven when you die. Softly and tenderly, page 382. Page 382. Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling. Here we are. Softly and tenderly, Jesus is calling, calling for you and for me. See on the portals he's waiting and watching, watching for you and for me. Come home, come home. Ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus, calling, O sinner, come home. I think about these stories. I think about people that are giving their life. I watched a movie recently, and I wanted to watch what they had. I'd read the books. I wanted to watch the movie. I'm not going to recommend the movie to anybody. But after the movie, the director said, "I want to get this story straight." The director went to the families of the soldiers that had died. He said, "I just want to get the story straight." And he said, one of the dads, so he didn't say, one of the dads didn't say anything. I just want to read you this. The coroner's report of how many times the son was shot. Left ankle, right foot, his legs, both legs, his back, 3 times in the head. Kept. But the director said he was moved because the boy kept fighting for the last headshot. He was never out to fight. It touches me when I think about these people, but it touches me that they chose that to go fight. It touches me because Jesus chose to die for me. And I'm eternally grateful every single day. It moves me on my inside. I want to be a great American. I want to be an American, all-American, in all that I do because I know the price that was paid. I want to be the best Christian I can be because I know the price that was paid. He chose to go to Calvary because he loves you. I want to know him, Brother John. He wants you to know him. He chose to give up his life on Calvary because he wants you to know him. He wants you to trust him. Altar's open if you need to come. One more verse. Second verse. Why should we tarry when Jesus is pleading for you and for me? Why should we linger and heed not his mercies? Mercies for you and for me. Come home, come home. Ye who are weary, come home. Earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling, oh sinner, come home. P.R. read this, please. Thanks for coming out this morning.